Let's do it.
I need some arms in the air. I need some noise.
All right, it is time to bring it on. All my hockey hat pack peeps, it is time to bring it on down to the Hockey Hat Shack. And you are watching the Hockey Hat Guys Islanders Hockey post-game report. All right, before we get into it, I'm going to do some shilling because that's what us internet people do. And let's get it going with the Hockey Hat Pack official website, which is thehockeyhatpack.blogspot.ca. I also got a Twitter account at HockeyHatGuy. That's at capital H, capital K, capital Y. The rest of them are all little letters, HATGUY. MOUSC, forget that last part. And most of you probably wouldn't understand what that last part meant. Facebook, we have the Hockey Hat Pack website. Go on Facebook, and look for it. We also got a YouTube channel as well. And, of course, that's where we put all these episodes on and a few other things, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Anyway, you know what? I'll talk about it right now, actually. I'm mixing it up, mixing my schedule up a little bit. Got to mix it up, got to keep it fresh. And what I'm going to talk about is the first ever edition of the Islanders Hockey News Desk, which is going to be informative, comedic, but not hurtful. Don't worry, players. Don't worry, coaches. Don't worry, announcers and management and our fans. Don't worry, because I do not go for the jugular. I might give you a little rap on the shoulder. Won't leave a bruise, but you might feel it. But seriously, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be something that I hope everybody likes, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm hoping that I can get it. I'm getting it together, getting the ideas together, getting the props together, and hopefully it will drop sometime on Wednesday. So watch for that. It'll definitely be out before the next game. That is for sure. Okay, before we get to the post game, we got to go to, well, I guess I'm showing some pregame stat finding places, also known as the pregame stats finder. And let's take a look at, if you're on Twitter, that's where it's at, man. That is totally where it's at. And check out the Twitter account at IslandersGMDay, all lowercase, at Jonathan_Dumphy, and at IslandersHKY, the Islanders Hockey official Twitter account. All those have great pregame stats. There's also something else. I'm going to mention it later in the shoutouts. All right, click, click, click. That's right. I'm clicking through. And basically all I'm saying is it is now time to get in deep. Not into the hockey hat. Not yet. That's later. You should know that. This is the third episode. Come on. Get the net. It's time for the report. First period recap. And I'll tell you right now, the last game I reviewed or reported on was... I mentioned the comment about how in the first 5 minutes they don't jump into the play. They don't really dictate the play. You know, they kind of on the back of their heels, and they're just kind of feeling their way around for 5 minutes, and then it seems to turn around and they seem to have a good period. This game was the exact opposite. This period was unbelievable. Fast. I couldn't believe it. It was just back and forth. And it ended up very quickly starting off. In the first minute, we saw Sprong spring Captain Jack on a breakaway and got a nice, pretty nice goal. And it really started that pace going, and it kept that pace going. Both teams were skating pretty well, but the Islanders were definitely getting the breaks. Absolutely. Bursey got an odd goal when there was a communication mishap between the goaltender and one of his defensemen, which seemed to be a theme of this game. But at the end of the first period, it was 2-0 for the Islanders, and the shots were 17-8 for the Oceanic. The Oceanic actually had a 2-man advantage when Ryan Graves got a penalty for, not quite sure. It wasn't one of those games, folks. The refs weren't completely all after us like the last one. There was a couple penalties, yeah, but no, not for the most part. So we were outshot, but we were winning 2-0 at the end of the first. Second period action saw the Oceanic really dictating the play, even though both teams were skating really hard. But it came up to, yet again, another sloppy play between the goaltender and the defenseman, and it was a beautiful, quick goal by LaPlante that ended up putting the Islanders in the driver's seat going into the third period. The final score in that second period, 3-1 for the Islanders. The shots, though, were the Oceanic, definitely for the Oceanic, 15-4. Third period action was a lot like last game, except I really do believe the term collapse applied more here. We saw the players kind of play around with the puck. They had a power play that did nothing. Broussard let in a bad goal, but granted, that was the only bad goal that Broussard let in. He was a solid goaltender, except that one, but it was too little too late, and the game just seemed to let it go. And DeLuca, 4 goals. That's another 4 goals from another player with the first letters sounding duh. And that's how, as a fan, I felt watching these two games was like duh. Like I was just at the end, those third periods rocked me hard. And I'll tell you right now, and not in a good way, I definitely mean in a very distracting way, but even though we let this one go, the final score was 5-3 for the Oceanic. The shots were 47-22. DeRocher, by the way, was put in the net for the third period, their number one goaltender. There was a goaltender switch, which I think was a really smart move, but honestly, that really didn't dictate the play. They hardly got any shots on DeRocher. He came up big when he needed to, but it was only a few times. Mentioning the shots again, they were 47 shots, but really the Oceanic, besides really the DeLuca shots, they weren't the greatest shots in the world. It was a lot of shots. There was some decent ones. There was that 2-man advantage that I mentioned before that Broussard really did have to stand on his head. But for the most part, they weren't that great of shots. So the 47 shots really weren't tearing Broussard to the ground. He wasn't on that ground and he wasn't worn out. He was not at all. He was standing tall, and I think that was it was a weird game again, but this one was definitely a third period collapse. And, boys, that is the low light of the game, is this third period, but also the road trip. The road trip, 0-3 on the road trip, and it just seemed to get worse as the road trip went on. The highlight, of course, was Broussard in this game. He had that one bad goal that I mentioned before, but he has nothing to be ashamed of at all. The freaking soldier of the game, which is my player of the game, that was a hard one to pick. And a lot of people might think automatically it'd be Broussard, but that goal did not sit well with me to give him that. He was a close second, but I'm actually going to give it to Ryan Graves, who is on Twitter at Graves, all lowercase, 27. He played really good tonight. He was skating hard. He was hitting hard. He seemed to be in the right spots. He was moving into the play when he needed to. That was the one thing that I saw in this game that was really good. Also, to mention that Captain Jack was hitting hard and doing the things that he needed to do. But we're going to talk about something a little bit later in Inside the Hockey Hat that I think maybe the whole team should hear, and the fans too. I think the fans need to hear it too. It's constructive criticism, but hey, you know me, man. There's always a positive angle for everybody in the game, because that's what we got to do, is keep those positive thoughts. That's what we have to do without a shadow of a doubt. Next game is going to be back in Charlottetown at the East Link Center. Woo! And they're going to be playing host to the Sherbrooke Phoenix. Now, I really don't think right now is the time to worry about the Phoenix. The Phoenix will be landing, and the Hat Guy will be ready to cheer for the Islanders. But right now, the team needs to come home. Coach Dwyer needs to sit them down, maybe even individually. Who knows? Figure out what's going on, because there is something wrong right now. This road trip needs to be a learning experience and not a downer. We need to figure out what happened, guys. We need to do that. You know, it might be something very simple. It might be something complex. Who knows? You're dealing with not only the physical game of hockey players, but dealing with the mental game. That is a big thing. And a lot of fans, they ignore that fact. They think, hey, he's a big guy, he should be able to hit. Well, maybe something up in the attic is not, maybe it's a problem. Maybe something going on. I don't mean anything really intense. I'm just talking distractions or whatever, just basic life stuff that you might be letting get into your head and get to you. You don't need that crap, all right? Concentrate on the positives and learn from those negatives big time. They need to practice hard. Coach Dwyer, you know, is going to make sure that when they come back and they're playing the Phoenix, they're going to be ready to kick some major bird butt. Phoenix is a bird, right? Yeah, it is a bird. Ha-ha. And also a city. But we're not going to get into them. We have nothing against Phoenix, Arizona. Of course we don't. Tweet of the night is coming up right now. That's right. Tweet of the night. There weren't a lot of tweets because, let's face it, it was a bit of a downer of a game, especially because the 2 third periods in a row that seemed to resemble a lot in a negative way. Jonathan Dumphy at Jonathan_Dumphy. I was talking about DiPaolo, who, by the way, had a fight tonight, and he was doing really well. It was, I would have to say, it was probably even Steven. They both got in some good shots. DiPaolo is a tank. He is a tough dude, and I can't wait to see him drop the gloves at the East Link Center. But and so I was talking about, you know, how the general manager of the team has done such a great job, and of course his Twitter is at GPS Hockey, and Jonathan Dumphy said, "This is a whole new organization. I like that he, meaning the general manager, and at G Dwyer 32, who of course is the coach, work as a unit and communicate." That is a positive email. Last night I did some, last night it was all goofy, silly emails and funny emails, but this is what we need. This is a good thing. This is a positive thing. And we all know that the general manager has hit a home run every time since he's been here. And he communicates well with the coach, which is essential. Right now, it's what's going on down at the ice, on the ice surface, and what's happening. A rough road trip that can be used as a tool to teach the boys, hey guys, you know, just say to them, hey guys, come on. We need to look at all of our mistakes. Why did we collapse? Why did it happen? The fans want to know, but at the end of the day, they need to know. And that's what it comes down to. And we are going to talk about something very similar to that deep inside that hockey hat back there. That's right, folks. It is time for Inside the Hockey Hat. This week Inside the Hockey Hat has the road trip on my mind, of course. Now keep in mind, before I say anything, we got a great team. We really do have a great team. And there's a difference between taking a crap on the players and the management and the coach or whomever and laying out some constructive criticism. And that's what I want this segment to be, constructive. Okay? I have it entitled, this little commentary this week, A Rough Road Trip to Learn From. Focus and cohesion needed badly. But here's the positive. Drive is not an issue. These guys came out in that first period, and they were playing pretty good in the second too, but that first period was stellar. They were moving. They were skating fast. There was drive from every single player on the Islanders bench. There was no doubt about it. When they got on the ice, they were moving big time. And it was a great thing to see, which really shocked me when the third period came around. But again, learning from these problems that they've had. What are the problems? That's the focus. They need to focus not only on what they need to do on the ice, they need to focus on maybe getting things together so there is that cohesion, the coming together of it. So far, let's face it, most of this season, this team has had solid cohesion. No doubt about it. They seem to have been very focused. I mean, right off the bat. There's a good vibe going on in the city of Charlottetown for sure. There's a lot with the new ownership, the rebranding, everything about it, the big crowds. You know, it's a great thing, and players, they feed off of that vibe. There's a positivity. I mean, even when we were at the Islanders family skate, the players were really friendly, and there seemed to be a very positive vibe going from pretty much every player, I would say. It was really nice to see, and everyone appreciated it. But this happens sometimes. You know, you have to fall from that perch. The thing is how far do you fall, and can you get the ground back? They're at this point right now. This is a pivotal point of the season, this road trip. I knew going in that it was like, this is going to be a road trip that kind of dictates how this team plays for the rest of the year. Are they up to the task to be able to go against a team like the Armada that seem to still be, you know, pulling out all the stops and getting all the big wins? Can they do it? I believe they can. I really do believe they can. They just need to bring it down to the basics and figure out what's not clicking. And that was the one thing I noticed tonight. Coach Dwyer seemed to really move the lines around. There's a lot of switch up. I noticed that we saw it a little bit, but not as much. The number one line was broke up. We saw Bursey playing with Kylie, and we saw Nevin's kind of all over the place. We saw it was different. He was really mixing up the lines, which makes sense because things were not going well. He's a smart coach. He knows. He could feel that vibe too, probably down on the bench, that things were not going well, and the worm was turning. And it wasn't turning in the good direction. It was doing what it did last game, but this time it seemed to be a little harder. You guys are great players. You guys are a really solid team, a bunch of good guys, and don't even think for a second you're coming back to PEI. Who knows what the crowd's going to be? I hope it's going to be big. Hockey Hat Guy is going to be cheering loud for you guys because, hey, taking a crap on you guys while you guys are down is not the answer. The answer is to get your stuff together. I almost said a bad word. Starts with an S, ends with a T, and has high in the middle. But that's it. You just need to do that. Just work hard. And the hashtag that the organization has been using is hashtag We Work, We Win. And that one, this road trip, actually really was the first time I saw that hashtag and it resonated big time. Like, we need to work, we need to win, but there's a lot to do with working. Starts in the head, goes out to the body, and people have got to connect on all levels for this team to be one of the best teams, not only in the Q, but in the whole CHL. Guys, I know you can do it, and I bet you there's a lot of fans out there. Some are quiet, some are not, but they believe in you too. So come home to PEI and get it together. All right. That's enough of me yakking. Well, actually it isn't, because it's time for the shout-outs, and we are going to have one shout-out this week. It's Nolan Reed, that's right, Twitter handle at Nolman29, and we're going to talk about, I mean, he does a lot of stuff, let's face it, but he has a stellar blog that comes out with new information, basic information, you could say, but information you need that will make your viewing of the game perfect. And that is IslandersGameday.blogspot.ca. You got to check this thing out before every game. It is exactly what you need going into every Islanders hockey game. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to talk about this blogspot site that Nolan runs like mad. Like he knows what he's doing. He'll be mentioned every time the show's on from now on. You got that one, Nolan. I got your back, boss. All right. It is time to say goodbye. We got a game next Friday at 7 o'clock. The Sherbrooke Phoenix, that team with the bird logo on it. They're flying in, and they're going to land right at the Eastlink Center. And I'm going to be there with the hockey hat on and my jersey, and I'm going to be dancing. I'm going to be shucking. I'm going to be jiving. I'm going to be screaming and yelling and cheering. Most importantly, cheering for the team that I love, the Charlottetown Islanders. I want to see you there. You got to cheer with the hockey hat guy. Doesn't mean you have to get up and dance like a goofball like me. No, you don't have to do that. But clap, Go woo every now and then, like a little Ric Flair every now and then. Woo! Just do something. Shake yourself back and forth in your seat. It doesn't matter. I understand that sometimes people are shy. They don't want to put themselves out there. I get it. Okay? I've been there before. No worries. I understand you people. Okay? But do what you can. Anything is a good thing if it's a positive thing when cheering for the hockey team. So, until next time, guess what? Keep your stick on the ice and don't get stuck.
Thank you.